Say you're on fiber, in your own city, and the match still feels underwater, and nothing on your end explains why. Here's why. Your framerate is your opponent's ping, and Tokon's rollback netcode can't tell a dropped frame from a dropped packet. A frame their GPU failed to render, and a packet their machine failed to send. Both arrive at your console as the exact same thing, state the other side didn't have yet, so a player across town on a struggling PC can hand you 8 frames of correction, and the game bills it to your match, not theirs. Tokon is Arc System Works' 4v4 tag fighter, built with Marvel, published through PlayStation Studios on PS5 and PC, and it launched August 6th. 20 playable characters across 5 teams at launch: Unbreakable X-Men, Amazing Guardians, Fighting Avengers, Knights of Doom, Samurai Outriders, Storm confirmed on the X-Men side. And none of that roster is where this problem lives. The netcode is. Here's what players are actually seeing: a rollback counter that reads 8, then 0, then 8 again, with nothing in between. At 60 frames a second, 8 frames of rollback is 133 milliseconds of correction popping in and vanishing over and over, mid-match. Not a smooth degrade you can adjust to, but a light being switched. Players went looking for why, and they found it themselves before Arc System Works said a word. From the Steam discussion boards, a lot of people aren't checking their FPS in this game, and they're sub 60, and if you're sub 60, your opponent gets 8 or more frames of rollback, not their own, yours, on their screen, because your machine fell behind, and the netcode can't file that under anything except state we don't have yet. Here's the proof, and it's the best fact in this video. In the August 10th patch, 4 days after launch, Arc System Works fixed something that sounds unrelated to netcode entirely. The game was regularly checking for available audio inputs during a match, polling your microphone list for no reason a player would ever need, and that polling caused frame drops. Walk the chain again, because it's the whole video in one example. A background housekeeping task nobody asked for, checking a device list nobody was using, dropped frames on your machine, which pushed your frame rate under 60, which is exactly the condition players had already diagnosed as the trigger for 8+ frames of rollback on somebody else's screen. For 4 days before this got patched, players with clean hardware and a better connection than their opponent were still handing out correction spikes that had nothing to do with their own setup, purely because of a microphone check running in the background of a fight, and that patch note is the thesis, documented in Arc System Works' own words. While that got fixed, public reception was already moving, and it's worth putting real numbers on it instead of a vibe. I repulled Steam's review data myself for this video, and as of 4 a.m. UTC on August 11th, Tokon sits at 2,061 positive and 2,474 negative, 4,535 total, mixed, 45.4% positive. 2 earlier polls exist on this same page: 1,793 positive against 2,506 negative first, then 2,073 against 2,476 later that same day, and positives rose 280 between those two, while negatives fell 30, which only happens if players are revoking or flipping their own reviews as patches land. By the time I pulled again for this video, the total had actually dropped by 14 from that second reading, and honestly, reviews move both ways, so don't trust a screenshot of a score you saw once. Pull it yourself before you repeat it. Arc System Works has shipped 2 patches in 4 days, and it's worth reading what's actually in them instead of assuming nothing happened. Day 1, August 6th, they removed unneeded character animation updates to cut CPU load, fixed a performance hit tied to running OBS or Discord with an overlay active, fixed a delay in how the Steam client sends your input data online, added a PS5 input lag mitigation, and turned shader warm-up on by default so your first few matches stop stuttering while the game compiles what it needs. Then the August 10th maintenance, a 10 GB patch with servers down 2 hours in Japan, added more CPU reduction at startup, that audio polling fix, a fix for framerate drops tied to specific resolutions, better automatic graphics quality detection, a fix for settings reverting on restart, and a fix for an unresponsive lobby button. Notice what's missing from both lists. Nothing here touches matchmaking. Every line is CPU load or framerate, because Arc System Works is treating this as a performance problem. And a performance problem is basically what a rollback problem is once you know that your frame time and your opponent's connection run through the same pipe. One thing you'll see repeated in the same threads needs a label before it goes any further. Some players believe the rollback is asymmetric, that it turns the better PC down to match the worse one, so only one person actually feels the lag. That's player reported, not documented by Arc System Works, and nothing in either patch confirms or denies it, so treat it as a working theory frustrated players came up with under pressure rather than a stated mechanic. It might be right, it just isn't sourced the way the audio polling fix is. 2 real controls exist right now, and most coverage of this game skips both of them. Open online settings and find connection filter, which defaults to any, meaning you can be matched against a connection dragging you into rollback territory before either of you has thrown a hit. Set it to 4 bars or higher, or to same region only, and you cut off the worst of what you can't see coming. The second control is the crossplay toggle in your online network preferences, and PS5 players are turning it off on their own, not because Arc System Works told them to, but because a PC opponent dropping frames undermines rollback for both sides of a match, and taking PC out of the pool removes that specific risk. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud, so I will. Neither setting is a fix, both are a purchase, and every filter you tighten shrinks the pool of players the matchmaker can pick from, and a smaller pool doesn't disappear as a cost. It just changes shape, paid in longer queues, or in looser rank, matching once the queue gets tired of waiting. That's the identical trade-off in Riot's own autofill numbers, which we've covered on this channel before. Tighten the filter, and you're trading a rollback spike. You can't predict for a queue timer, you can watch tick. That's a fair trade for plenty of people. It's still a trade, and it deserves to be priced as one instead of handed out as a free fix. None of this is Arc System Works ignoring the problem, not with 2 patches in 4 days aimed almost entirely at the frame time that feeds straight into your opponent's rollback, and a review score that's already moved once since launch and may move again before you finish this video. What you're feeling in a bad match is real, and now you know the actual mechanism behind it instead of a guess. So set your connection filter, decide what crossplay is worth to you, and check your own frame rate before you queue up tonight. It might not be your opponent's connection at all, it might be yours.